won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers.
What up? What up? What up? And graphic change. Welcome into Pregaming here on the Sports Money Network. I'm your boy, Mikey Money, here to share with you guys my thoughts, my opinions, some trends, some angles, some best bets, some, well, whatever tickles my fancy, frankly. But I am fired up to be back for a new week. This is the start of the biggest 2 weeks of the, in my opinion, the sports betting season. Gettable lines, lots of opportunities, and we are volume bettors, which means in the voluminous game, he who places the most wagers wins. Something like that, I think. Let me see what's going on here. Hope everybody had a nice weekend. I had a pleasant one myself. Sundays, man, no football. It's like there's a whole new rhythm. There's a whole new groove and grind to get into, and it was pleasant yesterday. What was not pleasant was watching Michigan crumble like a house of cards. Whenever the competition gets tough, Michigan gets going. Seems to be my observation. We've got March Madness bracket picks. Guess who's involved? Okay, listen. Maybe I should drop the link in the chat. You know what? I will do that. Let me do that right now. Here's the deal. I'm in, I did a couple free brackets, man of the people as I am. I certainly don't want to leave money on the table, but there's a couple big brackets I am involved with here. The big bracket for March Madness with 20K plus in winners, 5K in the free survivor pool. There's another free survivor pool for $500 as well over at the SCN. So I am going to drop this link in the chat for anybody that wants to get involved. You guys know the deal. We use this as our platform during football season for the Survivor contest, for playoff formatting. We've taken down several of these pots. We've taken down the NHL Survivor, the Golf Survivor. And again, there's plenty of free plays out there. So give the link a click or copy, I guess, and paste. It'll take you over there. You can register for free. You can see there's a couple free ones, and there's free pools for the World Cup, the group stage, the knockout stage. There's an MLB free survivor. NHL Survivor's underway, and then you'll see March Madness. So not affiliated with Sports Money, just this place that we put our actual money. And, some people will say, well, let's put one together and go head to head with each other. Yeah, I'd rather get their money, not our money. You know what I mean? I'd rather play for big money, and I'd rather put it in my pocket, or watch one of you guys put it in your pocket, because look, the pools that I play in, they're life-changing. You win one of these puppies, it does change the game for you. So that being said, that is the SZN. I crinkled up a piece of paper. And the whole backside was open. And I talked about it with timestamps. I said, man, I should have saved it. So I went dumpster diving. I got a piece of paper. It's all wrinkled. So, in any event, the SCN is out there, you guys, and it's really inexpensive. It's like $10 for the March Madness bracket to win your piece of 20K. So reasonable, real payouts as well. Sometimes people will throw these third-party companies out there and they don't know who they are. Listen, I'm telling you, we've taken them down. I'm telling you, we've put the money in our pockets. And that's all I can offer from a confidence perspective. Now, I'll tell you, I gave out a tennis match earlier today. It's a qualifier match, so you may or may not be able to get it, but it is in play right now. It's Garin and Draxel. qualifying Miami, ATP 1000 Miami. He's down. The Canadian is down 1-0, down 1-0 going into the second set now. So plenty of live betting opportunity if you can do that. And I told you guys, like some of these, especially if you're a New York gambler, the state is very, very finicky about where you can place your action. You can't bet on New York college basketball teams. You can't bet on qualifying teams. But Kalshi will let you trade away over there. So if you're not involved in the Kalshi business, it's a great little workaround. We cashed with some great St. Bonaventure money. We got another St. John's the other day. They're cashing for us, kicking ass, taking names. And so a nice little workaround as it relates to staying compliant, but getting action in on your home state. Frustrating for some people. So that being said, look, sharp respected betting had a nice weekend out there. I mean, they finished about 64%. That makes sense. I think the sharps are typically going down at about a 64% rate. Let's talk just for a momento because there is a World Baseball Classic game this evening, and I do have action. It is coming down, so I am in alignment with the line trend. And look, Italy and Venezuela are popping off tonight. Last night was a great night for America. Man, oh man, the public trap and then some with this Dominican Republic team. But then you just kind of watched, you watched everybody hammer, road dog, firing away. There's no way they lose. And in that fourth inning, it was a thing of beauty. In fact, I gave them out at minus 120 pregame. And then throughout the game, specifically the fourth inning, they were plus 100. They were going into the fourth inning. They were down 1-0. They were plus 100. So I came in there and laid another bomb on it. In the fourth inning particularly, bang, bang. They go up 2-1. And they never looked back. So shout out to Team USA. Venezuela and Italy. Italia, of course, Aaron Nola on the bump. Big win out there from Italy against the U.S. that got some people thinking, oh, man, maybe the U.S. is going to miss this tournament. But no, stop it. You know better. 2 plays. I took the under 10.5, and I've got the first 5 under 5.5 with first pitch that takes place at 8 p.m. this evening. So Kyler Montero will start for Venezuela. And look, I think we just have 2 really strong arms on the bump here for the first 5. On top of that, it is a playoff game. So you know how important those are and how lower scoring they tend to get. AOD says Dominicans got robbed. Well, AOD, I'm glad they did because the subscribers at Winnable did cash with me. But if you're referencing the strike in the 9th inning, it's baseball, my friend. In fact, I am excited to share with you guys that the new show will be popping off as we coordinate with the opening day of the Major League Baseball season. What that means for the time frame for the 5 p.m. slot is still to be determined, but it does look like, is it March 25th, I believe, is opening day? Is it March 25th? And I believe they've got the Giants and the Yankees. I haven't looked at it too much. Haven't looked too much yet. Just still trying to ride out what's in front of us here. But I like it. I like that it kind of correlates with an overlap. And I took the Nationals tonight against the Mets at 6:10 p.m., a Major League MLB.TV game. MLB.TV to get involved in the Nationals to beat them New York Mets. We all know the Mets are frauds. They are on fraud check. And that's the way the cookie is going to crumble for me. It is March 25th, 8 p.m. So we'll probably start, I guess we'll start Thursday. Thursday the 26th has a nice full slate of games. A 115, a 210, a 220, a 3, a 410, a 410, a 410, a 415, a 415, an 830, and a 1010. Means we pop off at 12 p.m. Eastern for the new show. You'll go through the morning with the morning steam and Ramon Scott from 9 to 11 a.m. Get the first looks out of what's happening in Las Vegas. And then we pop in my guy, Shark, and I will be firing through the entire baseball card. Kind of same format as we did for football season. I know a lot of you guys liked that. And we enjoyed it as well. So new show coming out March 26th, 12 p.m. Eastern, which will account for afternoon games. We don't want to miss the afternoon action. Traditionally, I'd go on some other forum or some other platform and share my feedback on some of them golf bet or baseball bets, but thought it was important to bring her on home to the Sports Money Network and bring our guy Sharkin. Love talking with him, talking some baseball, talking some football. Don't matter what we're talking. Just enjoy talking with my guy Sharkin. Hopefully you will as well. Now, let's see. I know there is an EPL game underway. Okay. I took Brentford and under 4.5. I juiced it up, but I got it at minus 120. It is 2-1 Brentford right now. I think the Bees get one more. I think it keeps it close and tight for me. Let's see. Team total. Wow, they're not going to give it to me live right now. Just trying to fire. Just trying to find some plays to get us paid. Let me see if I found one here. Hang on. Everybody sit tight. Let me see. Where are we at? Let's take a look here. Soccer-wise. I see one of you scumbags is signed up and ready to go. Respect, man. Excited to have you in and ready for the March Madness bracket. It is us versus the bookies, and so that'll be a lot of fun. My guy, I don't want to put you on blast. Just want you to know I see that you're in, and I appreciate that, man. All right, I can't find it. I was hoping that there would have been one goal scored. I think Brentford scores again. Next goal, Brentford. How about that? Even money. We'll throw a little sprinkler down on that thing to keep us moving in the sports betting wheelhouse, you guys. So, Drew Scalosa, winnable.com is where you can find me for live betting action and so on and so forth. You want my premium plays, you want my best bet plays, you can get them all out there. And I developed a new play. It's called the Golden Ticket, you guys. The $3 best bet of the card, in my opinion. $3. You can get the card for $3. You can get the best bet out there daily, as long as it's schedule permitting. But Drew, the way that works out is for a March Madness bracket tournament. It's all online. It's all automated. All you do is put your picks in. And then you go out there, you select your bracket, you hit submit, and they'll track it, and they'll stack rank you against the thousands of people that will enter. And based on those entries, you have the shot to pick up 20 grand. Actually, I think it's like 10 grand that goes to first place, but hey, whatever, right? I mean, we do it with the March Madness tournament. I'm sorry, with the NFL regular season Survivor, 100 grand in prizes get paid out there. Sadly, we haven't fared very well. Collectively, we all seem to, man, that was that one year we all got wiped in like the first week. And then I think that was the Bengals. Was that 2 seasons ago? And then last year, I think it was the Raiders took a bunch of us down around like week 4, I think. Maybe the Browns in there. But, Drew, we vetted a lot of these sites out. We've seen what works, what doesn't work. And we want to give you guys a chance to play and get paid with us. So that being said, it's a small card today. It's kind of getting us ready. It's probably enabling us to want to fire and bet away like crazy on tomorrow's card. And then, of course, as the tournament unfolds. But I've got 3 hockey plays. We've got the Bruins and Devils, the Kings and Rangers, the Flames and Red Wings. Trace. Then we've got player props. I've got one in the NHL. I've got one in the NBA. We've been fairly well. We've been making money on the player props. We're grinding. Like we had a 2-in-1 day, a bunch of 1-in-1 days, but the plus money props have been firing for us. So we're going to go back to the prop shop and see what has going on over there. We'll move into the NBA for a Warriors Wizards analysis, a Blazers and Nets trends spot. We'll wrap it up with the Sharp Perspective betting report here for this evening. Some had asked about the Sharp Perspective betting over the weekend. How do they do? They're killing it in the NHL. I can tell you that. They did strike out yesterday with the St. Louis Blues. That was, excuse me, a little crack in the voice there. The St. Louis Blues did shut them down. I think it was 3-2 final. Sucked because that was on the Blues too. They had the Anaheim Montreal over 6.5. I had Montreal. I lost in fucking overtime. I think it was overtime. Or no. That was a goal that was scored with like a minute left, and it broke my heart. And I was like, oh. But anyways, the overcashed, I think it was a 4-3 final. And then they had the Seattle Kraken at plus 110 yesterday, cashed as they finished her off. Let's see. NBA wise, they had the Sacramento Kings minus 3.5. That cashed out there. The Portland Philly under 228.5 cashed as well. So they had a nice day there. They had Penn, Arkansas, and Purdue on the college basketball side of things. I think they went 3-0 there, and they had the under in the Yale Penn game. So they lost that under. And that's the way it goes. That's exactly what I was talking about with you guys when it comes to layering these new tools. They're a weather vane for us. We want to see where they're at. And if it aligns with our thought process, then it should give you more confidence to click it. And if for some reason we're not seeing it the way they're seeing it, well, at least you know before you go what you're up against as it fires out there. So let's go, you guys. Let's talk some games. Let's talk some action. Let's start the card off here by smashing the thumbs up button. We've already got some World Baseball. We've already got a live tennis play. Let's see if we can't get this live action going. Hit this thumbs up. Let's get to these games, and let's get you guys out of here with a bow on the show to kick off a Monday evening. Got to set my reminder here. Bear with me. I've got to set my reminder so that I can tell you exactly when Brentford scores. Because we have them to take the next goal. It was even money. It was a shit play, but that really wasn't a shit play. It was just, it's a play. We are absent of volume here today, but hey, man, tomorrow starts the NIT. Tomorrow starts the play-in games for the bracket. Are you guys surprised or disappointed with the Wednesday edition of Miami O and Smoot? I'm not. Miami O got busted up by UMass right off the hop. So, yeah, I think giving them a play-in game just kind of solves all those question marks. UMBC and Howard, Texas, and NC State for some play-in action tomorrow. Excited to share my thoughts and opinions here as we move into college and March Madness. We're going to start a rollover as well. See if we can't find a way to get paid. So let's go. Let's get into the NHL. Let me pull up the goalie information for us here. Let's talk about game numero uno. It is a tricky little spot between the Boston Bruins and the New Jersey Devils. Jacob Markstrom will take the pipes for the New Jersey Devils, and he's sporting a 3.11 on the season. They've been using the piss out of him since the Olympic All-Star break. Now, the Devils were kind of idling around the bottom of the toilet until they thumped the Los Angeles Kings the other day. And I say thump because they had a rare explosion of goals. They put up a 6-pack. You didn't know Jack Hughes called Team USA yesterday before they played in the World Baseball Classic and gave him a little motivational speech. So that was pretty cool. Damn. So anyways, Markstrom, he has been on the struggle bus. He's 5-4, just a 500. Bruins, 3-1-1 in their last 5 are fighters. They are competitors. This is an ESPN nationally televised affair. And I think it's a bounce back spot here. Yeah, you know what? Here's what it comes down to me. The Devils, they have the 5th worst record at home this season. There is pretty much no home ice advantage for the New Jersey Devils. Fact. Big win. Lots of goals. Potentially blew their load out there in that situation against the Kings. And Boston, in the grand scheme, in the macro of the season, Boston's an average team on the road. Goalies are getting better. You know, we look at their situation here with, you know, they're riding with Korpisalo. You know, it's hard to argue this guy's mediocre at best, but the Bruins themselves have been kind of battling out there, and the Devils, 4 or more goals in 5 of their last 6, so they're firing as well. The over was a strong look to me, but I thought, you know what, since the All-Star break, now we zoom in, since the Olympic break, despite New Jersey scoring an abundance of goals, the Boston Bruins have allowed the 7th fewest goals since the Olympic break. So I think that there's a shot here with some plus money involving none other than the Boston Bruins here. We know at home they had themselves like a 15, 16, 7. I can't even recall the number. It was just an abundance of wins on home ice. So we're playing a little bit of the bounce back angle to some degree, but we're catching a plus 110 on the Boston Bruins. And that is good enough for me to kick off the NHL card. Forgot the timestamp. Okay. What do you guys think about that? Can't win games if you can't score goals. Boston Bruins are not allowing a lot of teams to score goals, and the New Jersey Devils at home is not the finest of fits here. The Los Angeles Kings and the New York Rangers, the aforementioned Los Angeles Kings, and I told you my position with the Los Angeles Kings. I'm high on them. The subtle tells, the non-vocal moves, right? Their behavior, their pattern of behavior indicated that this team expects more. And guess what? They are well within playoff opportunity. Some said to me just 2 weeks ago, this team stinks. No, they don't. And the moves they made indicated they've got higher expectations. Now, they have struggled since the All-Star break. We saw that. Fucking terrible goaltending from Kemper, 4.54 goals against average. It's hard to argue with that. But I have to take this Kings team because of my thought process, because of my expectations on what the Kings should be doing, and they will make the playoffs, then I have to take them one game at a time. And the game I have to look at is the beatdown against the New Jersey Devils the other day. So now we're taking a Kings team. They're going to put Shesterkin in the goal for the other side on the New York Rangers. And, you know, guy's been playing well. I mean, look, they just had a big win over Minnesota. A lot of people like Minnesota for playoffs this year. I guess I'm not entirely there. And I'm not trying to let like recent performance. I guess maybe it's not fair. Maybe it's just me and my bias of saying I think the Kings have a shot and I don't like what I'm seeing out of the Minnesota Wild. Now, that being said, look, the Rangers coming out of this thing, Shesterkin 2-6-7 in 7 games. They've gone 5-0-2. So he's playing consistent since the Olympic break. Things you got to like here, but you know, we fade the Rangers at home. We're still getting on that. I do believe at one point I said, you know, hey, maybe the pendulum shifts the other direction and they have to start putting pucks in the net. I just think the stakes are too high today for the New York Rangers to kind of go out there and beat this Los Angeles Kings team. In fact, the Rangers at home off a win, you fade them, you're 25-9. It's a fair number. Again, I know that kind of looks at the big picture of the season, and they've had a struggle in New York City at Madison Square Garden. The Rangers are perpetually looking at a play-in game for the NHL. They're not officially eliminated. So yeah, I guess the stakes are high for them too. I just don't buy in. They made it clear they're sellers and they sold to the Rangers. In fact, Panarin, good looking goal opportunity tonight here. Why not? He's playing against the team that traded him away. He couldn't wait to get out of there. And now he gets an opportunity to go back and face him at home in Madison Square Garden. Will the Boo Birds be out? That is the question, but it's not enough. I mean, we might as well make him official. There's not a ton of games on the card tonight, but Panarin, let's see. Plus 160 to score a goal. Plus 160 for Panarin to score a goal. And I like it. I think that's a good looking play for us here. And on top of taking a Rangers team where the price is coming down, you can catch them at $1.15 or so. Now, let's see what you boys have to say. And Peter Grassi says Monday already. Jeez, yeah. Dude, where's the time go? Drew Scalosa says yes. Miami gets to prove them wrong. That'd be cool. I don't know the last time there's been two MAC schools in the tournament. Has it ever happened? Drew Scalosa says over Devils ? Good point. Lake Bruins in this spot. Drew says moneyline and team total Boston parlay. Rangers over seems profitable lately. It does seem profitable, but that's an interesting 5.5 they pegged on that son of a gun today. All right, you guys, last NHL play in the Rolodex here. We're going to look at the New Jersey Devils. We're going to look at the Calgary Flames and the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit Red Wings, that same Detroit Red Wings team. By the way, I think I missed it. The Kings suck at home, but they are playing better on the road. I forgot to add that component. I trailed off on my thought process there when I talked about how bad the Rangers have been. And yes, the pendulum should shift back, but the bottom of the NHL at home ice, Vancouver Canucks, and then just above them are the New York Rangers. And the Canucks are absolutely atrocious. So LA coming in here with the 7th best winning percentage on the road. Final game of the East Coast trip is also worth a scheduling note for this Los Angeles Kings team. So I'm going to back them LA Kings here. You catch them at -114. That's a nice little tag. Let's see if just do some quick shopping. Yeah, -110 at Fanatics. Catch them -110 at Fanatics. We'll move into Calgary and Detroit, the third game of the series. And the third game of our series. Let me preface it by saying that. I'm going to take the Calgary Flames. I'm going to go for a big swing on a big plus money price tag here. Dustin Wolf gets the start. He's got a 3.0 goals against average, 89.7% save percentage. Johnny Gibson will start for the Detroit Red Wings. And I guess at this point, I just have to recognize the fact that the Detroit Red Wings are perpetually underachievers. Their expected goals for, their high scoring chance probability, the spots where they're taking the pucks from, they're supposed to be finding the back of the net, and they're not. Red Wings trying to keep their hopes alive for the playoffs, so there's some motivation. And the Flames are struggling. They're 1-3 in their last 4. We did pick that winner. Road teams against a less rested home interconference opponent are 11-3 over a 17-year stretch. That are in favor of the Calgary Flames tonight. 17 years, they've cashed 9 in a row. In some Calgary Flame action, you will later hear that they are part of the sharp, respected betting report. But, the Red Wings do have a history of smacking down the Flames at home. They are 14-3 over a 19-year sample at home. If the teams are over a 50% win percentage, right? So they can't be like fully checked out shitbags. Although both these teams are pretty darn close. The Red Wings, though, they're not scoring. So that's where I feel like there's a neutralizer and the price tag's mismatched, because you got a Red Wings team hasn't scored more than 3 goals in 6 straight games. And if you can't score goals, you can't win games. You're 1-3-2. So lock me in for the Calgary Flames. Plus money price tonight. Shout out to 9 Legacy. Here's the 9 Legacy, the paid in full parlay of the day. The Orlando Magic, the Houston Rockets, the Dallas Mavericks, the Portland Trailblazers, all on the spread. Likes Boncaro over 13.5 rebounds and assists. And he's going with the Boston Bruins money line against the New Jersey Devils. Shout out to my guy, 9 Legacy. That completes the NHL, you guys. Let's talk some player props. We'll move over to the prop shop and talk about a couple spots I want to get involved with. So I guess I already gave you the Panarin goal, right? Excuse me, at plus 165. I was looking at the NHL. I mean, obviously a real difficult situation here. I want to stay in alignment. My alignment has to go with Pavel Zacha. Going to have to look to him in the NHL under the Bruins. Some guys like to look. I'm not trying to get overly cute. Like I'm going to do a same game part. This ain't football, right? I don't want it to be correlated. If I put a guy in from I don't care. I just want to cash. And it's a plus 104 Pavel Zacha price tag to get a point. Anytime point. Playing for the Bruins and a team I expect to win. We just talked about that against the New Jersey Devils. So, look, it's important for me this time of year that we pick the guys that are on teams that are expected to win, because we've seen games where it's like 6-1 finals. And then you're trying to thread the needle, with a team where it's just not in the cards. And so it looks like this tag has moved a little bit. You can catch plus 104 at FanDuel for Pavel Zacha. There's some even money spots out there as well. And, the history I should say this, Boston doesn't take much to get into a McAvoy goal scoring situation, right? That guy's just been doing something. But what I like about Pavel Zacha is his recent 10 games. So let's zoom in. Kind of a common theme out there. He's third on the team in shots. Now, Morgan Geekie comes over this season. Geekie, I guess. I don't know. My left eye's twitching when I say it wrong, so it's probably wrong. But he's only got 2 goals and 2 assists in his last 10 games. Geekie. Playing a ton of power play time, by the way. Leading the team in power play points. Power play production, Geekie. So if you're going to look to go to a Boston Bruin for power play points, Geekie's plus 260. Pavel Zacha on the points category, though, for me, this one came down to just, again, second on the team in shots. He's the second line center. He's got 5 goals, 5 assists, and 2 power play points over his last 10 games. By the way, he plays with Geekie on the first line in the power play. And look at this first line power play, man. It's a shame that I don't like the Bruins as much as I don't. You got Geekie. You got Elias Lindholm. Oh, Brentford did not score the next goal. Pavel Zacha. We just talked about 5 goals and 5 assists in 10 games. Then you've got David Pastrnak. You got Pasta and Charlie McAvoy. That first power play line should be just put them all together and round robin 2-packs on power play points out there, and you should be able to make some good money. But I'm going to go to Pavel Zacha to get a point, plus 104 on FanDuel for me. Then I'm going to move over to the NBA. What do you say? We take a little player prop parlay in the end. Well, not a prop parlay, but we'll take a little parlay or a prop action. Excuse me. I'll get it right. I will get it right over here. And I got to look at the bigs. I got to look at Sengun. I got to look at this Los Angeles Lakers Houston Rockets game. Now, I feel a little less convicted about the team having to win to be involved in the NBA side of things, just because there's so much fuckery in the NBA. I mean, we've talked about it all over the place. So I don't care so much about whether or not the Rockets win this game. I will say this, though. There is some trendage looking at this side of the house. I don't know. Let me see if I can find that trend that I was talking about. The aforementioned. Where is it? Come on, don't do this to me now. How is that even possible? You ever wonder, how's that even possible? I was just looking at something. Now I can't find it. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Look, bottom line, I'm looking at Sengun. I'm looking at his assists. Normally, I like to get involved in the rebound game. They have moved it up, so it did catch some steam from the original 4.5. That's one of the criteria I look for. I can catch the 5.5 at plus 102 on FanDuel. If you can get 5+, I don't hate that. Let me just double check here. Houston Rockets player assists. Ugh. I mean, look how much this thing's moved. It was like minus 110 earlier this morning. It's now minus 222. That's how some of these things identify for the sharp, or not sharp, respective betting. But I was telling you about the new prop tools. And they filter all this through for us to come up with some of these options. Then you got to just look at them and say, okay, well, make this one make sense. And I can tell you from the Sengun perspective, what makes the most sense about this one is more or less the chemistry and makeup of the team for the Houston Rockets. So we know that the Lakers kind of go out there and, not great big man play, but they allow the second fewest points per game to centers. So Sengun in a points game, probably not going to go out there and light the world on fire, right? Like, why row the boat upstream? But then when you look at what's going on with this team and you've got guys like Kevin Durant, shit, feed him and feed him again out there, because he's shown his ability to go out there and be efficient and effective, surprisingly. Now, when the Lakers and Rockets played on Christmas Day, Sengun had 14 points, but he had 31 minutes. And this line does not suggest a blowout. So the fact that the line's moved, my point is that even though it's moved to 5.5 in the assist category, I think you're in a really good spot taking advantage of Sengun to go out there and get, over 5.5. And you're catching another plus money price tag out there. Shit. Parlay those two together over on FanDuel and get yourself payday out there. They, in fact, offered a no sweat bet today. Let's see what you guys have to say here. It looks like Nasty Nate's checking in. He says the Celtics are going to smash. Celtics second quarter. Celtics Bruins parlay. I don't mind that Celtics Bruins parlay. I like to sell. I was talking with my guy Shark earlier today, and I was like, here's a parlay. It's minus 145, but the Spurs and the Celtics on the money line, I'll give you guys that one too. We'll add a little Celtics Spurs parlay, an NBA parlay. This Boston Celtics team's in a 23 straight winning scenario right now. That was one of the reasons why I thought, you know what? Fuck the points. Let's just take a shot and give them a go. Norman Ross says Sengun questionable too. That's all right. If he doesn't play, we get a refund. Yep, the latter pronounced geeky. Yeah, I thought so. Drew Scalosa, Boston Parlay, loves it. Oh, there's the update. Draxel wins the second set. He's now minus 125 to win the whole thing, you guys. That's what we're doing here. Let's go on and talk some Wizards and Warriors. Tough game. Tough game for me, because if you do let recency bias affect you and you look at what's going on with this Golden State Warriors team, between the injuries, the chemistry of the team, the results they're putting on the board, there's no reason to buy on this team. Yet here we go with 52% of the bets and 52% of the cash on the Wizards. Yet it's moved 3 points to minus 7.5. That's a head scratcher. That's a lot of points. What the hell's going on? I think that you're in a situation where the Wizards are 0-13. Dogs of 6 points or more if they're on a 2-game or more winning streak. In other words, they don't appreciate the Wizards either. They overvalue. And then look, here they are. They got a cover against Orlando. They got a cover against Boston. They had 4 straight road games. They're coming home for lucky number 5. And it was weird yesterday with that. Was it yesterday? The Knicks and Golden State Warriors spread was 14.5. Fucking Golden State was up the majority of that game. And look at this injury report for the Wizards. Davis, Russell, Whitmore, Black, Sarr, George. Not that it's much better on the Golden State Warriors side of things here, but essentially, I just think the deeper team in this case, bouncing back, fading. The average line in that 0-13 spot for the Washington Wizards, 10.5 points. And they're losing by 10.5 on the spread. That means that this is blowout city for the Golden State Warriors. And I'm going to back it. I'm going to follow it and say, you know what? We've had a pretty good run in the NBA. And it's because we kind of turned the plane into the storm, right? We embrace the turbulence. And Drew's close to Spurs, Celtics, and Spurs parlay. Yeah, Celtics and Spurs parlay is the one. It was, like I said, it was minus 145 earlier today. Why not? All right, 41-35. We got the Nets and the Blazers, man. I'll tell you, first of all, I found this NBA card exceptionally challenging today. Sometimes you have a couple good days. For me, anyways, I always kind of get that in the back of my head inherently is like, don't give it all back, you know? So then I start getting a little skeptical, a little gun shy when I start, looking at some of these numbers. But, I kind of thought with this Portland game here, the Nets stink. I mean, the Blazers aren't certainly much better when it comes down to it, but I mean, what are we talking about here? You're double-digit dogs at home against another team that's really not that impressive. It's funny because I'm going to go, again, turn the plane against the storm here with an under in this game. Hear me out. We got 221.5s. Okay. We got a Portland Trailblazers team, double-digit favorites, 12.5s now on some books, 10.5s, 11.5s, 12.5s. This goes back to that Kalshi thing I was talking to you guys about. If you like the Nets, you can get 12.5s over at Kalshi, where there's 10.5s at Bet Rivers and 11.5s everywhere else. So depending on the side that you like, it is very crucial that you shop and shop again, because you certainly, that 2 points, that's a bucket. Could be the difference between winning and losing, between living and dying, as I should have dug in there and really gone after my Al Pacino spot, but I didn't. Here's the thing. The Trailblazers, big favorites. If they're 9 or more favorites, they're 9-0 to the over against the spread. To me, this is just a system play where it comes into the, tough to hit double digits. And do I envision, the Nets aren't getting to 100. Fact. 97. They did have 100 in there against Detroit. But in any event, this is one where I saw head-to-head or not eye-to-eye with some of my compadres, because despite the like of the over, here's a fact that the Trailblazers, when they're in the favorite role, rest disadvantage, the Trailblazers kind of do the opposite of what you would expect. The rest disadvantage, a lot of people think, in that second half, it's going to go over and it's going to start to get to the number, and then the defense falls apart and they don't play any defense. No, the Trailblazers embrace the second leg of a back-to-back. They're one of the best teams in the NBA to have it, especially with no rest. They're also 162 and 119 to the under. They've gone 9-1 their last 10 when they've got the favorite role as a rest disadvantage. The under has smashed and cashed. And then add some variables to it. It's a Monday. They just had a big game against the Sixers. They're playing the lowly Nets, who can't get to 100. And despite the fact that you would think it's 9 straight overs going on number 10 for the Trailblazers, it just felt like a sneaky under spot. And that's the way I chose to go and attack it. Todd Clinton says, can you go over reverse line movement for me? I still have a hard time following that situation. Absolutely, Todd Clinton. I'm always happy to answer strategy questions when it comes to sports betting, my friend. So we look at cash flow and splits, right? Now, some guys will here's the thing. There's some jokers out there, and there's some websites out there. There's some companies out there where they just tell you like their aunt, their uncle, the dog, and the cat are all on this team. So, you got to fade them. Well, then when you actually look at the numbers, you see that person doesn't really know what they're talking about. They're just kind of, arbitrarily throwing out some bullshit. right? Like, oh, everybody thinks, they know about, I don't know. They know UConn won back-to-back championships. So they're going to be yeah, okay, I get it. But then you have to look at the stat. You have to look at the cash flow splits. Okay. Percentage of bets, percentage of money. Typically the percentage of bets, these are all the tickets being written. So it's parlay tickets, it's prop tickets, it's teaser tickets, it's the dollar tickets, the $2, the parlay that's as long as your arm that's got 15 spots selected in it. Those are all the bets being written, right? Then you look at the percentage of money. Typically the money, you're not going to get those $15 leg parlays because the sharper bettors don't do them or don't do them that often or whatever the case may be. So it's the backpack full of money that's being dropped down. And outside of the Super Bowl, if they're dropping a backpack full of money down, it's my philosophy that, hey, those are probably some sharper bettors, right? Not necessarily all the time, but generally what we look for is the percentage of bets, the percentage of cash, and then what we want to do, and this is where people make the mistake. So your auntie, your uncle, your cat, and your dog are all betting UConn because everybody knows UConn's won back-to-back championship. Okay, I got it. But is it validated in the data? In other words, right now, 50-50. The Trailblazers and the Nets. The percentage of bets are 50-50, but 58% of the cash shows there's an 8% differential on the Blazers. Now, here's where it all comes back together. This is the most important piece that people miss. Based on that, what is the line doing? In other words, if everybody's buying Apple stock, do you see Apple stock continuing to go up? Is it staying flat or is it going down? Right? If the line's correlated, if you got that differential showing 50% of the bets, but 58% of the cash are on the Blazers, and the line's gone from 7.5 to 11.5, that's correlated. Where it would be scary is Pelicans Mavericks. Now, this doesn't mean it's the end all be all, right? This is where people, I think, miss the boat the most. 29% of the bets are on the Pelicans. Let me flip it around. 71% of the bets, not quite everybody, but just damn near everybody's betting on the Mavericks, right? 71% of the bets, only 68% of the cash, which means there's a little bit of a differential. Some bigger bettors think the Pelicans might have a chance. Well, the line opened at plus 6.5. It's now plus 8.5. In other words, the public likes the Mavericks, and the line said, if you like it at 6.5, you're going to love it at 8.5. Here, take some more. They want to continue to get more shares of the Mavericks into the hands of the public because there's a little respect and concern that maybe the Pelicans go out there and smack the bottom, or at least that differential of bettors betting away on the Pelicans out there. And they know that they track their sharp action. The sharp action generally can sway their books one way or the other. In other words, you got house bettors, right? You look at things like, I don't know, Venetian, Westgate, whatever, all the books, right? You don't typically get Mikey Money, whoever the sharper Mikey Money better is that's in town that week, typically not going to the Venetian, then to the Bellagio, then to Caesars, right? He's got one spot that he's betting at because of the credits, because of the limits, because that's how they make their profession. And so when you get these sharp, respected betting trackers, it's the house bettors that they've tracked as sharps. Maybe they don't make 100 plays. They make 3. But when they make them, they cash. Or they're limiting these guys because they seem like they get an edge. And they use that edge to determine how they may react to the marketplace. So I don't know if that explains it the best I can, but that's kind of how I look at it. And I think the biggest component that people look at isn't just where the money's coming in, but what's the reaction? In other words, if that building across the street's on fire and you can see the smoke, and you can smell it cooking like a fucking barbecue, are the people running in or out, right? If they're running in, maybe it's just some asshole left their stove on and you can just turn it off. If they're running out, the whole 5th floor is on fire. That's probably the best way I could relate to how I think about the sharp perspective betting. And again, it's not the end all be all. It's just a tool. So the reverse line movement is when the money's coming in, you see the building's on fire, but people are running into the building, not out of the building, right? So in other words, 80% of the bets come in on a plus 6.5, and it's gone to plus 8.5. That's reverse line movement. Everybody's betting it, and the books don't care and said, we want you to take more of it. Where do the books show vulnerability and concern? It's not the Barney. He likes Panarin. He likes Geeky. He likes Cock Nelson. We know Barney likes. What? So good luck, y'all. Shout out to you, Barney. Appreciate you coming in, rocking. He says he knows it's the Panarin revenge game. Listen, last thing I'll talk to you guys about here, sharp, respected betting here. Speaking of, these are the guys that the Sharps have tracked and said, we're concerned about what these guys do. And I get a report. It's a consensus report that comes to me that indicates what they're doing. And tonight, what they're doing is they're betting on the Calgary Flames and the Pittsburgh Penguins. They like the Calgary Flames. I like the Calgary Flames. I told you, good spot I thought for the Calgary Flames. The Penguins against the Avs. Now look, you want some correlation? 92% of the bets came in on the Colorado Avalanche. 64%. Now I say only 64%. That's just to create the contrast in the marketing side of it when you guys are when you're hearing it going 64%. Why is he saying only? Because 8% of the bets, but 36% of the cash have come in on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, what did the line do? The line sees the public's just blind betting the Avalanche. Truly, 92%. It's just about everybody, their aunt, their uncle, and the dog, right? Well, it went from $3 to $2. In other words, minus 303 when it opened, minus 218 right now. So the book said, screw you, public. Or the Sharps, rather, said, screw you, public. We think this is a Penguins opportunity. We know the Sharps can buy some cash. What I told you guys about this is when you look at the cash report, if you're going to follow this thing in its, transition process, what I would say is take both the Flames and the Penguins, because at plus 155 and plus 195, if you go 1-1, you made, a half a unit, 0.6 units. And I'm not saying that I think you're going to go 1-1. It's my opinion that if you look at how Sharps bet, especially in some of the smaller sports like hockey, they're betting it based on, outcomes, not scores, outcomes, meaning they've got more chances. They've got, 2 of 3 chances to win money by taking both dogs. Only 1 of 3 chances to lose money. Todd Clinton says, so would it be fair that reverse line movement may seem more trappy? Yeah. I mean, I think to me, it's a red flag. If you take a qualitative analysis across the way that you sports bet and you go down the line and you see, okay, how many red flags do I have with this team? How many red flags against this team? You should be able to put together some type of a formula that indicates whether or not if it's a bet on team, right? So in other words, how many red flags do you have and how many green flags do you have? I have red flags on the Red Wings, and I try to share that with you guys when I start talking about why I'm betting or why I'm fading. They're not scoring at home. They're on a losing streak. Their goaltender's less hot. I mean, those are all red flags. Then you see something like the Sharp betting report and you say, okay, well, now there's a green flag. I like what they're doing in their last 10 games. There's another green flag. You put enough of those together, and then hopefully you can see where's the bigger edge. That's why it takes so damn long to sports cap every day, right? That's where winnable comes into play. I'll do all that work for you guys. I'll put my analysis together. I'll share with you what I think the best bets are. And then you guys just come in there and fire, or don't. Additionally, Dallas, Utah, under 5.5 made it on the total side of things for the Sharp respected betting report. We know Dallas has won an absolute shit ton of games at home. Then we go to the NBA. In the NBA, they fired off on the San Antonio Spurs, minus 8.5. They bet the Memphis Bulls game over 243.5. And they like that Nets Portland game under 222.5. Turning into the storm as I am. Nothing for college basketball. So there you go. That you have it. I hope that was helpful for you guys. Good luck to everybody. Drew says, Todd, it can be used as a tool to either bet or stay away. It's just like, what's the benefit of this time frame for the show? The more information that we can compile, it used to be like, and there's some sports, we talked about this the other day. There's some sports like the NFL. C-Mac and I talked about this for college basketball the other day. The NFL is one of those sports where you could probably get away with, Monday, Tuesday betting. The problem with Monday, Tuesday betting, you don't know the elements, whether it's windy, rainy, snowy, whatever. You also don't know about the injury report. So it's kind of important to know whether the quarterback's playing or not. Now, we've talked about when they don't play. I like to play on those teams anyways, but that's a whole different story. And I think now more than ever, it's not so important to be the first guy to get the plays out there. It's the most important thing. Should I be the first to make a play, or should I be the best play giver? Does that make sense? That sounds like horrible English, but the reality is that the longer we can let this thing brew, it's almost like if you make a stew. We all know stews are better when they sit for a couple hours. You don't want to go in there and start spooning it out right away. You want to let it thicken. You want to let it build. You want to let it get some body to it. And that's what our work assessment does when we get to this show, sharing what's happened in the lines, who's starting in goal, where are the injuries at, and how is the line moving in relation to where the public's betting. That's 6:00 on the dot, you guys. We'll be back to do it again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll have college basketball. We'll have the NIT as well. And listen, I'll give it another shout out. If you want to get my best of the best, you want to support me, come over and say, hey, what's up? How we doing? Join over at Winnable, winnable.com. I try to make it literally less than $1 a day for you guys to get my best bets, my plays, the spots that I'm going heavy to the window on, the way that I grind out a living. You'll find those plays over at winnable.com. Live betting as well. Certainly an easy platform for me to put a bet in there. It pushes out to you. You get a text alert that says, hey, there's action going in, and you can go get that action. Again, winnable.com/Mikey Money. Use promo code NY2026. Get yourself a 35% break. Buy 2 months, get one free. That'll be 60. I think it's 65 cents a day if you do it that way. And it means a ton to me. So I appreciate those that do continue to renew and stay committed to helping grow the squad. Thank you guys all for being here at the Sports Money Network. You'll find Ramon Scott tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I'll be back here at 5 p.m. Good luck with your betting. Bet responsibly.